Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, text 7. Yastvindriyani manasa niyamyarabhaterjuna karmendriyaihi karmayogam asaktah savishishyate. So word to word meaning. Yah, one who. Tu, but. Indriyani, senses. Manasa, by the mind. Niyamya, regulating. Arabhate, begins. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Karma indriyai, by the active sense organs. Karma yogam, devotion. Asaktah, without attachment. Saha, he. Vishishyate, by far the better. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: on the other hand, he who controls the senses by the mind and engages his active organs in works of devotion without attachment is by far superior. So just to have a context of what it is, the previous verse was about a pretender. Karmendriyani samyamya ya aste manasasmaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyacharah sa uchyate. So last week Subal Prabhu has taken the class, and so this verse was covered. It's talking about the pretender, one who restrains the senses and organs of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. So that means if I don't, suppose, watch movies, like we devotees, if we don't watch all the movies that are coming out. So, but if my mind always dwells on the movie, oh, I have to watch that, all my friends are watching, I should somehow, and you regret that you became a devotee, then that is a pretender. I'm just making a show of a devotee, but my mind is not controlled. My mind is still dwelling on the sense objects. Or I have stopped now. We have 4 principles we follow: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication. So to the point of even tea, coffee, and even chocolate and Coca-Cola, because they have caffeine and all that. So suppose I become devotee and I miss chocolate, or I miss maybe some meat. So that is not good. In the beginning, yes, one may have these things, and when one starts his Krishna consciousness, he may have still the cravings, but as he chants Hare Krishna, he becomes purified. But then one who poses himself as a dedicated devotee, who is like a sannyasi or whatever, and his mind is still on the sense objects, like the other day I was talking about this sannyasi who was regretting, who is 78 years old. So he was regretting that he did not marry all life. So that kind of renunciation is useless. We must understand why renunciation is important, and one has to have why he was regretting, because he did not have any enjoyment in the spiritual life that he took. That means he just posing as a sannyasi, but his mind is simply on sense gratification. So that is useless. So our mind must be controlled. That's the whole point of this entire activities that we are doing, spiritual activities, is to control the mind. I think there is a nice verse before we actually start reading. This is in the Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 15th chapter, verse 28. Shadvarga samyamay kanta sarva niyama chodana tadanta yadi no yogan avaheyo shramavaha. Ritualistic ceremonies, regulative principles, austerities, and the practice of yoga are all meant to control the senses and mind. But even after one is able to control the senses and mind, if he does not come to the point of meditation upon the Supreme Lord, all such activities are simply labor in frustration. So, unless we come to the point of bhakti, of connecting with the Lord, we will not be having that disgust for material enjoyment. You can only, with mind, with complete conviction, give up material enjoyment only if you have complete taste, ever increasing spiritual enjoyment with Krishna. Because the mind wants enjoyment. It's not that the spiritualist gives up enjoyment and then becomes a dull stone, or just sit down and do nothing. No. By nature we want happiness. Anandamayo bhyasat. That's the nature of everything that we do. That's the reason why we do anything. But we have false hope of happiness in this material world. It's like a mirage in the desert. But happiness is not to be found here. Just because it's a mirage, it's not that the water is falsity. There's no falsity in water. Water is there. But that illusion of water on land, that is false. But there is such a thing called water, and that is available in the lake or the oasis or the river, like that. Similarly, we are looking for happiness in this world. It is not there. It is just an illusion of happiness. But it is not that happiness is not there altogether. The illusion that happiness is to be found in this material world, that is illusion. But happiness itself is not an illusion, and that real happiness is possible with Krishna. So unless one actually tastes that water of happiness of Krishna, one will have no distaste for material enjoyment, and one always falls back to the material enjoyment. Due to having stopped material enjoyment abruptly and without any higher engagement, the mind is just void, and after some time it wants activity, so it comes back to material activity. So it is said, when you walk, we take the front step and then let go of the back step. And then take the front step and let go of them. Not that I don't take the front step yet, but my back step is already taken off the ground. Then what? I'll fall down. So we have to have a solid footing in Krishna consciousness before we can completely give up. As much as we have the assurance of solid footing in Krishna consciousness, proportionately we will have a confidence of giving up the material enjoyment. If the ground in front is shaky, I will be careful not to step forward. So therefore this knowledge is important, so that how solid is the ground of Krishna consciousness, and then when one actually takes steps towards it, then we can automatically give up our material enjoyment. So with that understanding in mind, we will go back to 3.7, which is today's verse. So a pretender is condemned. So what is recommended instead is today's verse. Yastu indriyani manasa niyamya arabhate arjuna karmendriyaihi karmayogam asaktah savishishyate. On the other hand, he who controls the senses by the mind and engages his active organs in works of devotion without attachment is by far superior. Purport. Instead of becoming a pseudo-transcendentalist for the sake of wanton living and sense enjoyment, it is far better to remain in one's own business and execute the purpose of life, which is to get free from material bondage and enter into the kingdom of God. The prime svarthagati, or goal of self-interest, is to reach Vishnu. The whole institution of Varna and Ashrama is designed to help us reach this goal of life. A householder can also reach this destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. For self-realization, one can live a controlled life as prescribed in the Shastras and continue carrying out his business without attachment, and in that way make progress. Such a sincere person who follows this method is far better situated than the false pretender who adopts show bottle spiritualism to cheat the innocent public. A sincere sweeper in the street is far better than the charlatan meditator who meditates only for the sake of making a living. So we will continue on to the next verse as well. नियतं कुरु कर्मत्वं कर्मज्यायो हि अकर्मणः शरीर यात्रापि च ते न प्रसिद्ध्येत् अकर्मणः. Perform your prescribed duty, for action is better than inaction. A man cannot even maintain his physical body without work. There are many pseudo-meditators, purport. There are many pseudo-meditators who misrepresent themselves as belonging to high parentage and great professional men who falsely pose that they have sacrificed everything for the sake of advancement in spiritual life. Lord Krishna did not want Arjuna to become a pretender, but that he perform his prescribed duties as set forth for Kshatriyas. Arjuna was a householder and a military general, and therefore it was better for him to remain as such and perform his religious duties as prescribed for the householder Kshatriya. Such activities gradually cleanse the heart of a mundane man and free him from material contamination. So-called renunciation for the purpose of maintenance is never approved by the Lord, nor by any religious scripture. After all, one has to maintain one's body and soul together by some work. Work should not be given up capriciously without purification of materialistic propensities. Anyone who is in the material world is certainly possessed of the impure propensity for lording it over material nature, or in other words, for sense gratification. Such polluted propensities have to be cleared. Without doing so, through prescribed duties, one should never attempt to become a so-called transcendentalist, renouncing work and living at the cost of others. So these two are connected verses, and they are on the subject of how to avoid pretension in the course of one's spiritual advancement, and how one has to be actually sincere, and one does not have to give up immediately his social position. People generally have a wrong idea that spirituality means we have to immediately give up our families and go to some ashram somewhere and do some yoga. So that is not spiritual life. It is a gradual process by which one has to purify himself. And it is explained by Lord Brahma himself in the Bhagavatam, Jnane Prayasam Udapasya. You see this? Jnane Prayasam Udapasya Namanta Eva Jivanti Sanmukharitam Bhavadiya Vartam Sthane Sthita Shrutigatam Tanuvan Manobhir Ye Praya Sujita Jatopyasitais Trilokyam. Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge and with their body, words and mind offer all respects to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the three worlds. See? So what is to be given up? Sthane sthita, the word is used, sthane sthita, means stay wherever you are. You don't have to change anything. But one thing has to be given up. The propensity to speculate on transcendental subjects. Instead of having our own opinion on how to go to God, we have to take the direction given by God Himself, which is repeated by His pure devotees, the acharyas, especially who is coming down in the proper sampradaya, parampara system. So in our case, Srila Prabhupada has given us the pure knowledge of Krishna and how we can go back to Krishna. So we have to take that very seriously and give up our so-called idea. Many people have many ideas about how to go to God. I will just, why I have to go to temple? God is in my heart. They speak like this. I can always connect with God. Why I have to go to temple and pray something, Some people are like that. Some people say Manav Seva is Madhav Seva. Oh, I help the poor people, then God will be pleased with me. All kinds of ideas they have. We cannot have our own idea of pleasing God. Krishna did not say, you feed the poor people and I will be happy. He did not say that. You mean to say he does not have enough food to feed them, so you have to feed them? Huh? What is his understanding? It is not that we are saying that you don't help the poor people, but there is a way to help. The way we think is help is not help. First of all, we have to understand why the poor man is suffering. He is suffering because of his past karma. First, that has to be understood. And Krishna has enough supply to give him anything. But why he is not getting? Because of his previous actions. So now what to do to help him? It is not that, let his karma, let him rot with his karma. No, we are not saying that. He has to be helped. But that help means helping the soul. So for the poor person, there is distribution of prasadam. The authentic way to help a poor person is distribution of prasadam. So that prasadam means food which is cooked and offered to the Lord first and then give it to the person. Not simply give it to the person also. Because according to Bhagavad Gita, without offering to the Lord, any food is contaminated with sin. Chapter 3 verse 13. So, it has to be understood. Okay, we'll actually go to this chapter 3 verse 13 because so that we understand. यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल विषये भुञ्जते ते त्वघं पापा ये पचन्ते आत्मकारणात्. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. So we have to offer the food to Krishna first. And that food should be vegetarian in category. That is also explained. Ninth chapter 26th verse, Krishna says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktyupahritam ashnami prayadatmanaham. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit or water, I will accept it. So these kind of food we have to offer to Krishna and distribute that as prasadam, mass distribution to all the poor people. That is one. So once his hunger is satisfied, next thing is knowledge. So what is happening with prasadam? Two things are happening. The stomach is, the material hunger is subsided. At the same time, because it is Krishna's prasadam, prasadam means what? Mercy. Prasade sarva dukkheshu hanirasyopajayate. In Bhagavad Gita 265. Prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi paryavatishthate. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajayate. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. So by prasadam, he will counteract his threefold miseries. First of all, because it is prasadam, he gets the mercy of the Lord. And that mercy means he has begun to again begun to accept the supremacy of the Lord. How? If I take a vow of taking only that food which is taken by the Lord first, that is the beginning of devotion. Some people say prasad is just for putting little bit in your mouth. No. Every meal should be only prasadam. Anything other than prasadam is sin. Actually. Even vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Non-vegetarian is worse. Even vegetarian is not good. Prasadam is the only pure food. So if not in the temple, one has to cook in the home and offer to Krishna, and then eat. Always one has to eat prasadam. Otherwise, each sin is going to give us a reaction in the future. So, it's up to us. Sin or even pious activity, even so-called good activity in this world will also give a reaction, good karma. For experiencing that good karma, I have to take birth again in this material world. Maybe in a good family, in a good position, but birth itself is painful. So either way, bad karma or good karma, both are bad. So the only thing that should be done is devotion to Krishna, which is beyond good and bad karma, which is called akarma. So once you have given the prasadam to that poor person, then enlighten him with knowledge. Ask him to chant Hare Krishna and give him the Bhagavad Gita. Make him read. So in this way, if we connect them to spiritual knowledge, then he will understand, oh, why I am suffering is this. This is the reason. Alright, let me correct this. So that is the whole idea of how to help a poor person. Not that, oh, I will just, feed the poor man food and that's it. Or I will give him some shelter and schooling and that's it. That is help to the body only. Where is the help to the soul? A man is drowning in the water, and if the lifeguard goes and picks up the dress of the person and comes out and says, I have saved the person, what is that? The man has drowned, you have only got the dress. So this body is like a dress on the soul. If we just try to save the dress, however you build hospital or you build school or you build house or give shelter or give clothes, that man is going to die one day. And after that, where the soul is going to go? What have you done for that journey? Real help means the soul. The soul is the actual person there. The body is not the person. It is just a dress. So therefore, real help means to help the soul, to give him Krishna consciousness. So Manav Seva is not Madhav Seva. Whereas the opposite is true. Madhav Seva is Manav Seva, is Deva, what is that? To Devatas Seva, Pitra Seva, everything, every Seva is done just by Madhav Seva. Once Prabhupada was asked this question. Somebody commented to Prabhupada, I believe in this idea that Manav Seva is Madhav Seva. Then Prabhupada said, if Manav Seva is Madhav Seva, then Madhav Seva is Manav Seva. So by serving Madhava, I can serve all Manav. Whereas you have to serve all Manav to serve Madhav. Where is the chance you can serve everybody? How many population is there? 7 billion. You can serve all 7 billion people. Because one Manav Seva is not equal to Madhav Seva. All Manavta, the whole humankind, how can we serve? But in the other way, if I do Madhav Seva, then whole Manav Seva is done. In fact, it is said that this world is running because there are some pure devotees chanting the name of God. They are serving Him somewhere. Otherwise, Krishna has no interest in this world. At the end of the universe, Krishna gets very frustrated. Vishnu, Mahavishnu. He gets very frustrated. How much chance I have given to these souls, still they are rotting. Still, how many times I have come as avatar? How many times I have sent my acharyas to teach them? How many scriptures I have left for them to understand themselves and come back to me? Still these rascals want to chase after some insignificant sense enjoyment. And life after life after life, they prefer to suffer than to come and enjoy with me. What useless people are these? Then he gets so much angry that his eyes become all red, and then the fire starts breathing. He starts breathing fire from his mouth. And with that fire, the entire universe everything is burned to ashes. This is explained how destruction takes place. So, how important it is that we have to take it, how much chance Krishna is actually giving us. So now we have able senses, able mind. Because when we grow older, all our senses will become devoid of power. Our mind, we may get, I don't know what we may get, either coma or Alzheimer's disease or what, we don't know. Therefore, King Kulshekhar is praying, Krishna Tvadiya Padapankaja Panjarantam Adyaiva me Vishatu Manasa Rajahamsa Prana Prayana Samaye Kaphavata Pittaihi Kantavarodhana Vidho Smaranam Kutaste. He's saying, let me die now. I was like a young, very, very qualified king. He said, let me die now. Because now I am able to think of you, Krishna. But at the time of death, all my organs, my bodily system will be in disturbed condition. Completely topsy-turvy. I won't be able to control anything. And the mucus may choke up my throat. And I may not even breathe properly. I may not hear or see properly. At that time, how am I going to remember you? Just forget all those. Just if we have a little bit fever, what can we remember Krishna? You start chanting Hare Krishna. How to chant 16 rounds when you have fever? Full headache and everything. How you can chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mala Hare Krishna on the Mala? It's so difficult. So hard to concentrate the mind. And death is how much more than fever? And death can come even in a second. Fever may stay for a long time, you can at least try to chant at least something. Death just comes and finish. 1 second gone. Sometimes it may be prolonged death. Sometimes it's just an accident or whatever. Or something, heart attack and die. At that stage, how can we remember Krishna if we have not practiced Krishna when our body is able and well? We have to always think that what I am doing now is going to help me at the time of death or not. If I can't think of Krishna now, if I cannot chant Hare Krishna now, if I cannot hear about Krishna's message, read Bhagavad Gita now, when I get the notice served that you have 3 months, sir, cancer, last stage, at that stage, how I will be able to keep my mind in composure and read Bhagavad Gita with full happiness? How will I be able to chant Hare Krishna in full happiness at that stage when I get a notice served that you got to exit permit? So we have to think. Therefore, actually exit notice is already served. Don't think that when the news comes that you have 3 months, then it is served. No, it is already served the moment we are born. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha. The moment we are born, with every second passing, we are actually just getting nearer to death. But foolishly we are celebrating our birthdays, our wedding anniversaries, our golden jubilee, silver jubilee, diamond jubilee. Everything is going to, actually what is that? I am 25 years closer to death. I am 50 years closer to death. That is golden jubilee. Diamond jubilee, I am 60 years closer to death. These are all warnings of death and we are celebrating. Yeah, I am going to die, I am going to die. Is this a cause to celebrate? It is said therefore in the Shastra, and the Western way of celebrating is everybody give gifts to you on birthday. And you will be the enjoyer of everything. Vedic system is exactly the opposite. Birthday means it is a notice that I am 1 year closer to death. So on birthdays, actually they give gifts to others. They serve Vaishnav Bhojan, or they will organize a katha so that everyone can hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata. So birthday is an occasion to serve, not to be served. And serve also we should do in a proper way. Give Krishna to others. I cannot speak about Krishna maybe, yes. So I will call the sadhus. Please, I will invite some people, okay, we speak. So this is the way one has to. In fact, when Krishna was born, when Ram was born, Dasarath, Nanda Maharaj, they gave so much in charity. Celebration means giving. Yajna dana tapa karma pavanani manishinam. It will purify us. So yes, it is in a context of celebration, because everybody likes birthday celebration. So yeah, in the pretext of a celebration, just call everybody to the temple. Let us have katha. Or call to your house and call the sadhus to your house and let's have a katha and let's have prasadam distributed among all my friends or relatives, colleagues. They will think it's a birthday party celebration and they'll come and they'll get purified also. And by doing that service, you get purified. So this is the whole idea, how it should be celebrated, birthdays. So in this way, our whole idea is to how to advance and take everything in the right perspective. So unless we have knowledge, how will we get the perspective right? Therefore, we have to constantly hear about this message, Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, we are conducting classes. Therefore, there are books. Therefore, there is this whole process established by the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, for our benefit. So, we have to make use of this. So, how? Today's verse. Controls the senses. He who controls the senses by the mind and engages his active organs in works of devotion. Karma yoga. Karma means work. Yoga means work linked. Yoga means link, connection. So anything which is connected to God is yoga. Yoga does not mean some exercises. Upside down. This is not yoga. Yoga means to connect with the Lord. Our activity is connected with the Lord. You can sit on the chair. You can sit on the chair, no problem. So, that is the actual meaning of yoga. So, karma yoga means our activities should be dovetailed with the service of the Lord. How to do that? Instead of giving up my job, whatever job I have. Okay, if my job is about, say, public speaking, if that is my job, then I can link everything to Krishna. I can speak about Krishna. Or if my job is about anything, maybe I'm just an employee in a company. I don't have, influence like, I speak to somebody. No. So, all right, then how much I earn from that certain amount should be given to the preaching of Krishna consciousness. On a regular. So, every month I get salary. Okay, actually the standard is 50% of one's income should be given to spreading of Krishna consciousness. For the brahmachari, 100%. Whatever he collects from whoever give donation, he just give it to the temple. And he is in the temple only. Brahmachari Gurukule. Vasandantu Guror Hitam. That is his life. But the grihastha, he cannot do that. So, alright, concession, 50%. Some people say, oh, how come 50%? What is this? Half of my income given. That is already not good enough. 100% is the real standard. Because if we want to go back to God, our 100% must be given to God. Then only will be 100% taken back to God. Otherwise, there is only 50% chance. So, but in grihastha, practical, Krishna is also practical. He is not like impractical. So, at least that much we have to think. Okay, even if I cannot do 50%, fine. At least start somewhere. At least I understand that the standard is 50%. I pray to Krishna to give me that ability to do 50%. But at least something or the other should be given to the proper preacher, to the proper institution who is preaching Krishna consciousness. Not simply some temple, like many temples are in India. They just take money and then hassle for money, and then after that, what they are doing, no preaching is going on, nothing. Not like that. So in this way, that is also karma yoga. So, pranair, arthair, dhiya, vacha, shreya acharanam sada. By 4 ways we can dedicate our life to Krishna and help others. By our prana, giving our life for Krishna, dedicating our life and actually engaging in the field work of preaching. Preaching means not just sitting down and giving class, Preaching means everything. Cooking nicely is also preaching. Because if people come and they have nice prasadam, they will get attracted to Krishna. Oh, Krishna's prasadam is so nice. So that cooking is also preaching. Somebody sees the deity so nicely decorated. Oh wow, this is so nice. I have to come and see every time. So that is also preaching. Just by dressing deity, that is also preaching. Cleaning the temple is also preaching. Everything we do is preaching. Presenting ourselves nicely and talking nicely. So people get attracted. Talking about Krishna, talking nicely means talking about Krishna. Not simply talking nicely, some gossip. So everything has to be nicely and give people value, service. Let them understand. Everybody is suffering. You have to be convinced that everybody is suffering. Wow, no matter how much he may put on a show of happiness, he is suffering. That is the truth of this material. But Krishna cannot be wrong. No? Krishna says, what is that? Dukhalayam ashashvatam. This world is Dukhalayam. No matter how much they put their selfies on Instagram with a smiley face, I don't know, first of all, they are just faking it. The truth is, everybody is suffering. Birth, death, old age, disease. Where is enjoyment? So many tensions in between all this. So-called happiness means like forgetting that suffering. Take some alcohol and then forget suffering. And then after the alcohol effect is over, along with the previous suffering which is already there, so after the alcohol nasha is over, the effect is gone, along with all the suffering that was already there in life, he gets an additional hangover. One more suffering. This is our so-called enjoyment in this material world. Or they take to drugs, or they get addicted to that. So in this way, it is, and even you take to drugs, or even if you feel happy until you die, then you're going to die. If one may make a compromise, all right, sir, never mind, it is Dukhalayam, I'll just forget by taking some nasha or something, I'll just forget. How long you can forget? Death will come one day. Today morning only we were talking about this beautiful verse, Bhagavatam. Lord Shiva is saying, glorifying Krishna in this way. प्रमत्तमुच्चैर् इति कृत्य चिन्तया प्रवृद्धलोभं विषयेषु लालसं त्वमप्रमत्तः सहसाभिपद्यसे क्षुल्ले लिहानो हिरिवाखुमन्तकः. My dear Lord Shiva is praying to Krishna like this. All living entities within this material world are mad after planning for things, and they are always busy with a desire to do this or that. This is due to uncontrollable greed. The greed for material enjoyment is always existing in the living entity, but your Lordship is always alert, and in due course of time you strike him just as a snake seizes a mouse and very easily swallows him. The mouse is making big plan. Okay, I will dig this burrow here, and I will make a tunnel here, or I will save myself from this, and I will make food for this. I will produce some children. This, and then one snake will come and finish. One moment, mouse is gone. We are also building tunnels, building buildings. One moment, the Lord comes and finish. So this is our plan making. 5-year plan, 10-year plan. Don't know whether we are going to last even 5 days. But we are making 5-year, 10-year, 50-year plans. So we have to be very careful. We have to always engage ourselves. How we have to engage? Kayena vacha manasendriyairva. Eleven 2:36. Kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmana va nusrita svabhavat karoti yadyat sakalam parasmai Narayanaayeti samarpayetat. In accordance with the particular nature one has acquired in conditioned life, whatever one does with body, words, mind, senses, intelligence or purified consciousness, one should offer to the Supreme, thinking, this is for the pleasure of Lord Narayana. Whatever we do, we should do for the pleasure of Narayana. Not that I will do my own thing and say this is the pleasure of Narayana. No. You should know whether Narayana is pleased or not, first of all. If I want to please you, suppose I invite you to my house. So if I want to really make you very happy, very nice and make you feel very nice, Then I must, for example, cook something which you like. What is your favorite dish? So I will cook that. What is your favorite show? Okay, let's watch this show. I'm giving a materialistic example. But, sir, I have to ask, if whatever pleases you the most, if I offer you that, that will please you the most. This is exactly what is customer service as well in business. Similarly, the same concept, we have to transfer it to God. Krishna, what pleases you most? So how will we get the answer? Read the scripture. Very easy actually. He gave very simple instruction. Man mana, think of me always. Bhava mad bhakta. Let's take out the verse. Manmana, think of me always. Bhava mad bhakta, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam namaskuru, pay namaskar. Namaskar means not like this, full dandavat pranam on the ground. Then what Krishna says? Mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosame. You will come back to me. You do these 4 things only. The entire life can be molded in this way. Manmana, always think of me. So Krishna is also giving hints how to think of him always. Sometimes I have to eat, sometimes I have to drink, sometimes I have to talk with friends or colleagues, or how to think of Krishna always. So Krishna is saying, Rasoham apsu kaunteya. I am the taste of water. So whenever you drink water, we feel the satisfying taste. Science says water has no odor, no taste. But you will feel the taste of water when you quenches your thirst. That taste, Krishna says, I am. Scientists are saying there is no taste. Then how will you feel the satisfaction? When it touches the tongue, very nice. So, that is Krishna. Immediately you can remember, this is Krishna. And Prabhasmi Sasisuryayo, I am the light of the sun, I am the light of the moon. How that light is coming? They say nuclear fusion in the sun. Then it must become every time increasing and increasing and increasing and increasing. Why it is always staying constant, that heat? That idea is not very perfect. The Bhagavatam actually explains. Anyway, there is full civilization on the sun. Even Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I spoke to the sun god. This whole Bhagavad Gita. Now I am repeating it to you, Arjuna. But before this, I spoke on the sun planet, this same thing. On the 4th chapter, 1st verse, he is saying this. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam. So I spoke this to Vivasvan. Who is Vivasvan? Surya Bhagavan. His name, his post is Surya Bhagavan. But his name, just like Prime Minister and Lee Hsien Loong in Singapore. Or in India, Narendra Modi and Prime Minister. Prime Minister is the post, Narendra Modi is the name. So the name of the sun god is Vivasvan. So he will change every time. Every 71 cycles of the 4 yugas, he will change. So, no, actually he stays for longer than that. No, it's 14, 71 cycles. So, in this way, we can understand that he is the light of sun and moon. Pranava sarva vedeshu, I am the Om. Krishna is saying, I am the Om. Whenever you chant Om, of course, Hindus nowadays, they don't know what is Om. They say, Om has like 700 over meanings, and you can imagine your own nonsense meaning. No, this is not Om. Om means Krishna. Pranava sarva vedeshu, he is saying, I am Om, and you are saying 700 meanings are there. I mean, who have to believe? So Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna or chanting Om is same. But especially Om is also chanted by impersonalists. So therefore Hare Krishna is preferred over Om. Because it is very, very personal. It is very specific to the person of Krishna. Because absolute truth can be understood in 3 stages. as the Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaneti. 3 stages of understanding. Like the sun can be understood in 3 phases. First, the light is understood. Like many living entities, many insects, they don't even know that there is a planet sun on the sky. They feel the light and the heat of the sun. That much they understand. But we can see more than that. Like developed animals or human beings, we can see the sun. We know that it is coming from there. 2 things we can see. The sunlight, the heat, and the sun globe. But we don't know much about the sun globe. We don't know how far it is, we don't know how hot it is or how big it is. Only with some scientific background understand. If I just rely on my eyes, I will think it is a burning spot in the sky. That's all I will understand. But only with the science textbooks, I will understand, oh, it is that far away, it is this hot, it is this big. Get an idea of what is the estimate of the sun. So even our eyes also don't give us the complete knowledge. Partially we know about the globe. But one who knows even further, he can actually go on the sun planet and he can see the entire civilization on the sun, which is far, far more developed than on the earth. And the beings are also far more intelligent than here. And they have a body different than ours. Ours is an earthly body. We cremate this, it will mix with the earth. But there they have fiery bodies so that they can comfortably live in the sun. They have no problems living on the sun. It is not hot for them. So like that, just like we can't live in the water, but there are living entities comfortably living in the water. We struggle, we are dying there if we are thrown in the sea. Whereas a small fish in the sea, when the storm comes this way, he will go in the water that way, opposite direction. He enjoys that. In the river also, some fish, they like to go against the current. Whereas if we put an elephant inside the river, it will be swept. Whereas a fish is comfortable there. So it is not the question about size or what, it is a question about whether you can live there. If you have a body suitable to live there, you can live in water. We don't have a body like that. Whereas a fish don't have a body suitable to live on land. It will be struggling on land. We are comfortable here. So like that, there are beings comfortable on the sun. And there is the sun god from whom this effulgence is coming out. So this is complete understanding of the sun. So there are 3 stages: the light, the globe, and the person, sun god. Similarly, the absolute truth is understood in 3 phases, which is explained in the Bhagavatam. 1-11. Vadanti Tattvavit tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So what is Brahman? The impersonal effulgence of the Lord. Krishna also has light coming out from him. And that expanse of that light is infinite, unlimited. You may say, why the sky is very dark? That's because this universe is like a shell. Inside the coconut, it is dark. Doesn't mean there is no sun. There is sun outside, which is so bright. But inside the coconut, if you are inside the coconut shell, you will be dark. Like inside the womb of the mother, it is dark. Doesn't mean there is no such thing as light. Outside the womb, outside the mother is all light. Similarly, we are in this womb of material nature of this universe, which is so tightly packed. And within this shell of the universe, the entire space, everything is dark. Therefore, it requires a sun to illuminate the entire sky. Whereas, outside this shell, outside the universe, and there are millions of such universes, trillions. And outside of this is the unlimited light of the personality of Krishna. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti kotishvasesha vasudhadi vibhuti bhinnam tad brahma nishkalam anantam ashesha bhutam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. That is a prayer by Lord Brahma. That yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti. By his light is maintained millions of universes. Just like by the sunlight, we are being maintained. Because the sunlight gives food to plants, plants we eat, or even those who eat meat, they eat animals which eat plants, which are again subsisting on sunlight. So by sunlight, the entire planetary systems of the universe are being maintained. So in this way, there is description. So similarly, the light of Krishna is sustaining the entire creation. So the whole creation, Krishna is actually distributed among his whole creation in the form of his energies. Not only his light, but even everything that we see is his energy. So the power, or some people say the universe is helping me, or the universe is against me, or something. Universe has got no brain. The universe has no brain. The brain is the brain of God. Oh, it is a nature. What nature? What is nature? You take a stone, that is nature. It will not move for millions of years. How it will move? Unless there is some person. Nothing. The stone is not going to come and make itself into a brick and make itself into a building. Nothing will happen. Some person has to come there. So even the natural processes of sunlight, of air, of rain, they are also, we say nature. But we do not know the higher arrangement of the devatas, who are the controlling agents of the Lord, and who on the order of the Lord control all these natural manifestations. We do not know how rain is planned by the devatas. Just like a dog in Singapore does not know of the government policies of the arrangement by the government, or how big is the city of Singapore. A dog does not know. He is living in Singapore, but he does not know that there is a government in Singapore, that there are ministers, that the road the dog is walking on is the road built by the government through this company or whatever. All the arrangement that is done, the dog has no understanding of it. He is just in the city, that's all. Similarly, with our tiny brain, we are just like those animals who are in this world, who do not know how this water is being supplied, this sunlight is being supplied, this air is being supplied, the land, the minerals are supplied. We do not even know. We don't know that there are actually higher government officers in the universe who are actually taking care of all these necessities of our lives. Without knowledge of all these things, we are just living a hedonistic life, without any meaning and purpose. So we have to understand all these things in perspective. All these devatas, who are they? They are servants of Vishnu, Krishna. On his order, they are doing all these things for our maintenance, so that we may comfortably be maintained here and use our human brain to understand God. But that we are not doing. We are thinking like this: nature has given us something, we will make it better. We will make it better than nature. And what we are doing? We are the single most irresponsible species on the planet. We have completely ruined the whole planet already, and we are doing it even more. In the name of so-called advancement, the side effects of such so-called discoveries and inventions is so drastic that the whole future is in a perilous condition now. The future generations are put in peril because of our irresponsible activities. Why? Because we don't take what God has already given us. We want to do something more. Oh, God is not enough, or nature is not. I will be better than everything. I will do something more far out. This is our problem. Therefore, we have so many problems. But if we just be content with whatever Krishna has given us, that is the Ishopanishad first verse. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma grida kasyas vidhanam. Just be satisfied with whatever Krishna has already given you, and save your time from unnecessary accumulation of material assets, and rather use the time in developing your spiritual life. So that is the whole idea of human life, to minimize. Minimize, just like Sukadeva Goswami said. Even he went to the extreme that if If there are caves, why we need a house? If there is a hand to sleep on, why we need a pillow? And if there are flat surfaces on the ground, why we need a bed? Even to that extent, give up everything. Why is the use for endeavor for these things? In fact, there was a story of Lomarsha Muni. Lomarsha Muni is a very unique sage. His life is so long, his lifetime. He got a special benediction that Brahma lives for 311 trillion 40 billion years, earth years. That is his lifespan, and that is the lifespan of this universe. So he got a benediction, this Lomarsha Muni, that when one Brahma dies, one of the hairs on his body will fall. And when all the hair of his body is fallen, then he will die. How many thousands of times Brahma's life he has to endure? That long is his life. So when the creation is dissolved, he is just waiting. He is still meditating outside the creation. And when again creation day, again he comes back to this world. So in this way, he will live that long. So one day, this Lomarsha Muni was chanting Hare Krishna on the bank of a river or on the shore of the ocean. So Narad Muni, the great sage, he was passing by. He saw Lomarsha Muni. My dear Lomarsha Muni, my namaskar. Why don't you at least put some hut, a cottage over your head so that when rain comes, at least you will be. And he said, what is the use? We're going to die any time. What is the use of wasting time in constructing a cottage? Rather, I use the time to chant Hare Krishna. He is thinking. And we are here with a 60 years life and not guaranteed. Any moment I can die here. And we are making plans as if we are going to live as long as Lomarsha Muni. We are making plans. We are building, advancing our science, technology, medicine so that we may live longer and longer and longer. But here is Lomarsha Muni, who has such a long life, who is saying we can die any moment. What is the use of wasting time and building cottage? Better to chant Hare Krishna. And this is the difference between a spiritualist and materialist. He doesn't care whether he has long life or short life. He wants to use his life in Krishna's service. He understands the value of time. Just because we have a little long time, we are slackening in our endeavor. But he is always conscious. You see how Lomarsha Muni was conscious. Even though he has such a long life, he is always conscious. I should not waste. So what if I have a long life? That is blessing of Krishna, fine. But that time I have to use for, otherwise it's a waste of time. Because our original, and also he is feeling so much satisfaction in chanting Hare Krishna, in the pleasure of being with Krishna by chanting his name and always meditating on him, that he is thinking this building cottage is a waste of time. Suppose you are in a hotel, like we were in a hotel in China. We just came back from preaching in China. Very nice, successful trip. So many Chinese were introduced to chanting Hare Krishna, and despite all the challenges by the government there, it was very successful. So we were actually moving so fast that every day we were in a different city, we were staying at a different place, we were having a different program. Every day. For 8 continuous days. So, when we were staying in a hotel, some hotels were good, some were not good. Some defect here was there, some door cannot be locked, some bathroom door cannot be locked, some light was not working, something like that. So, but we knew we were only going to stay there for one night. We didn't bother whether to repair that door or repair that light. We just, lock is not proper, fine, just close it, okay, just tell everybody, okay, this door is not locked, please don't open while I'm bathing. I'm finished bathing and done, pack up, go. Not wasting time in, let us repair this lock. Sit down and repair. Why waste time? Our thing is to carry on the preaching. We're not wasting time repairing the hotel room. Similarly, this world, this life is like a hotel room. Whatever facilities there, just have, let it be, and use the time for our real business. Our real business is not to repair the lock. Our real business is to preach about Krishna there. Similarly, our real business of life is to become Krishna conscious, not to fix our so-called problems. Anyway, life is defective. You may think this is a solution for this problem, but a person who does not have the problem, who already has the so-called solution that you are looking for, he is also having another set of problems. Some people think money will solve all my problems. And then you see, look at the money, look at the person who has money and see whether his problems are solved. His problems are not solved, he has another set of problems. Now he has too much money, so he needs more security. He needs bodyguards, he needs some alarm, he needs, everything. He's always fear anybody will shoot him or what. Or he may have health issues because, he's so rich, he doesn't exercise or something, or something, some disease which, nobody can say, anybody can get anything. So, in fact, we know of a person in Philippines, my brother is there preaching. So there is one woman, you go to her house, everything is the railing, big bungalow, huge bungalow with pool and everything, big. And the furniture, the railings on the staircase, everything is covered with gold. Of course, gold plating, and some are solid gold. But even the staircase, the rims of the staircase, everything, the furniture, everything, the table, the sofa. The sofa is not like this. You may think, oh, this is very far out seat, but this is nothing compared to what each sofa in that house is. Big, massive, and everything covered with gold. That person has a health problem. If she doesn't take steroids for 2 days, she may die. That is how she is surviving. Not only health problem, recently she called, our brother, my brother, the devotees. She said, please have some bhajan in my house. So he asked, why, Mataji, what happened? Because unless something bad happens, people don't call sadhus to her house nowadays. So I asked him, so what happened, Mataji? No, I just want some peace of mind. Peace of mind is not there. House covered with gold. So just imagine, so this will not give happiness. It will only until the point where the necessities are covered, until that, the need for money will be felt. After that, it just becomes meaningless. In fact, becomes a cause for intoxication and pride and unnecessary bad qualities, accumulation of money. So therefore, we have to just keep it as much as possible and use everything that is called karma yoga for devotional service. Because that is our real business of life. So that is the whole point of these two verses. So the last thing is without attachment. You have to do whatever you are doing, fine, but without attachment. You may say, how to do anything with passion without attachment? Yeah, the whole thing is not to be passionate about that. Just take it as a routine work. Your real passion should be for Krishna. You have to be passionate about Krishna. And then do everything else as a routine. Okay, I have to maintain my family, I have to do this, I have to do that, fine. And then get them also to become devotees. So in this way, I can, help them. As a matter of duty, I have to do that. But my real passion, my real drive should be that I have to become Krishna conscious. Everything else doesn't matter. Even if something bad happens, let it happen. This world, our life is going to crumble to pieces. Today or tomorrow, and not that, I have built a, like one Bengali poet, he wrote a poem saying that, I built this beautiful house. He was actually talking in a figurative way. He said, I built this beautiful house, but then fire came and destroyed everything. My family, everything is gone in a second. So, of course, he was For some people it really happens that way, some fire or something. But he's talking figuratively about life in general. So we make big plans, but then one moment our most near and dear ones for whom we have built this whole life is gone for some reason. And one suddenly becomes like puzzled, why am I even living, without the people whom I love? And in this way he gets sentimental and he becomes into depression and then maybe commits suicide or becomes dejected. But we should understand that all these things are going to pass. Whatever situation we are in is not going to be the eternal truth, is all transient. So if we are aware of the fact, dhirastatra na muhyati, the dhira, a sober man, he will not be muhyati, he will not be puzzled in all these reverses in life. In fact, those reverses will become blessings in disguise. How? When something, maybe some disagreement or somebody passes away. For example, not that we are praying for anybody to pass away, but Prabhupada said like this, that when he was 14 years old, his mother passed away. But he said this was a blessing in disguise. Why? Because his mother was always pushing that, no, he must become a barrister in London, a big lawyer, this, that. She was always pushing for material education. Whereas his father, he was dead against sending him to London or anywhere. He said, I don't want my son to become a mlecha, uncultured man. He wanted his son to become a great devotee of Krishna. In fact, whenever some sadhus pass by the house, he will just invite them and then feed them nicely and take their blessings. He always asks only one thing from the sadhus. He says, please make my son a dear servant of Radharani. That's all he asks his father. That's all he ever wanted. And from a young age he gave them Radha Krishna deity to worship. And Prabhupada was worshipping those Radha Govinda deities. Even until he was sannyasi, his disciples were worshipping that deities. So in this way, he was introduced to Krishna consciousness and his father was left. So but his mother was always materialistically inclined. So when she passed away, then he was only with his father and he was always very much, there was no hindrance. So he said that was a blessing in disguise. Another thing also happened when later in his life, he was a businessman in pharmaceutical industry. And Prabhupada later on explains, after he became sannyasi, then he explained to his disciples that if I did continue my business, I would have become greater than Tata, Birla, all this. But one day I received this notice. Because his business was in Allahabad and he was in Kolkata. He used to shuttle back and forth. So mostly he was living in Kolkata and he had a manager in Allahabad. So then one day he received a letter from his good friend that that manager totally cheated and the whole business is lost. Everything is lost. Then he received this letter, he was smiling. Krishna removed my last attachment. I had big hopes for making... Actually his plan was this, that he make this business big, earn the money, and with that money print books and construct temples and preach Krishna consciousness. This was his plan. Because his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, asked him to preach. The very first day he met, Prabhupada was only 26 years old and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur asked him, you are speaking English very nicely, so you should speak to the English speaking world. The British, the Americans, you should preach. First day he met him in 1922. From that day Prabhupada was thinking how I should preach, He was always planning about this. And even though he was a householder with 2 children and everything, he was always thinking how I should preach. And his business also he was doing for that purpose only, without any other purpose. Not that he wanted to enjoy, nothing. He just wanted to do business to earn money to preach, to print books and build temples and preach. But when the business went bust, then Prabhupada said, Krishna is removing this attachment, biggest attachment. Now he wants me to fully surrender to him. And he took it in a very positive way. And then later on, he explained After he got all the temples in the world, 108 temples he built, and he had about 5,000 over disciples. Prabhupada said, I wanted to become a Birla, but even Birla, he has to pay his employees. But I don't have to pay my disciples. And they are building temples. And now our whole movement, at that time, Prabhupada was speaking in 1976, he said, now our movement is worth millions of dollars. Everywhere we are spending thousands and thousands of dollars. Each temple, in America, there are temples, 250 devotees staying in the temple. Each temple, especially the Los Angeles and New York. And other temples also, tens of devotees. And each temple has so many vehicles. New York temple had about 13 or 14 vans, buses. Huge, the whole movement. And they were selling books. Bhagavad Gita's, the Back to Godhead magazines, by the millions. In 1976, 1 month, they sold 1 million Back to Godhead magazines. And also our Bhagavad Gita's, thousands and thousands of books were selling. I did not even imagine this kind of business when I was a householder, Prabhupada said. Krishna takes away, but to give something even more bigger. But because Krishna knew that Prabhupada will never misuse any money, so Krishna has kept on giving and giving and giving. But first he takes and tests whether you are still with me or not. Not that when everything fails, then I go to the temple and in a movie fashion, I will, oh God, where are you? If you are there, why is this happening to me? If you are really there, come and save me. What challenging God? God is a get lost man. Krishna is not, this is not some movie acting, and all the bells will start ringing by themselves, and everything will shake, the whole earthquake will happen, and lightning and thunder will come. Nothing is going to happen. Maybe lightning will come and hit our head, and we'll die. That may happen. If we do nonsense. Krishna says, Naam Prakasha Sarvasya. I will not manifest myself to one who challenges me. If you accept, Tattenu Kampam Susamikshamano Bhunjana Evatma Kritam Vipakam. Let's take out that verse. Thattenu kampam susamikshmano bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam hridvag vapurbhir vedadhan namaste jivetayo mukti padesa daya bhak. My dear Lord, Brahma is saying this. With 4 brains, with 4 brains he is saying this. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds, and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. There is another beautiful verse by King Kulashekar. Prabhupada also quoted this. So this is Mukundamala Stotra. Is this the one? Yeah. Oh no, next one. Oh, this is also quoted by Prabhupada in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. See how beautiful verse. It's a very beautiful verse actually. नास्था धर्मे नव सुनिचये नैव कामोपभोगे यद्भाव्यं तद्भगतु भवतु भगवन् पूर्वकर्मानुरूपम् एतत् प्रार्थ्यं मम बहुमतं जन्म जन्मान्तरेऽपि त्वत्पादाम्भोरुहयुगगता निश्चला भक्तिरस्तु. O my Lord, I have no attachment for religiosity or for accumulating wealth or for enjoying sense gratification. Let these come as they inevitably must in accordance with my past deeds. See, he is saying, Nastha dharma, I don't want religiosity means in the sense do religious activities for some blessings for my family, or some, or going to heavenly planets, all this mundane religiosity. He is not interested. Nastha, I have no respect for dharma. Na vasuni chahiye, to accumulation of wealth. No, I am not interested. That means dharma, artha and kama. Naiva kamopabhoge. I am not interested. And what he says, yad bhavyam tad bhavatu bhagavan. Purva karmanurupam. Purva karma, whatever I have done, according to that, let it happen, whatever has to happen. I don't mind. But this is what my prayer is. Etat prarthyam mama bahumatam janma janmantarepi. Let this come as inevitably must in accordance with my past deeds. But I do pray for this most cherished boon. Birth after birth, let me render unflinching devotional service unto your two lotus feet. He's not even asking Krishna to save him from repeated cycle of birth and death. No, Krishna, if you think that I have to come here again, birth after birth after birth, even if I have to come 1,000,000 times, doesn't matter. But one thing you give me, that I may always remember your feet and I always be in your service. This is what he's asking. So he does not want dharma, artha, kama, moksha, nothing he wants. He just wants bhakti. So this attitude will actually attract the Lord. And once we come to this stage, then we will completely lose attachment for any material thing. Unless we have this strong, intense attachment for Krishna. Therefore Krishna says, Maya sakta mana partha. Get attached to me. Then only you can give up this material attachment. But without Maya sakta, without Krishna sakta, without being attached to Krishna, we cannot give up this thing. And we will always remain a pretender. So with this I would like to stop. So any questions or comments on this topic? Any doubts?
Some people, they will hear, sometimes maybe people, you ask them to buy a book,
Mm-hmm.
TV. So they will give this example, I don't want to be a pretender, better I don't be a if I get the hunting bag or the book, I just keep one side, I don't do anything. So they choose the other extreme, like, they don't want to try also, better I don't bother about it at all. And be materialistic rather than do some spirituality and half year after that.
So the question is that, so some people use this thing that I don't want to be a pretender, so I rather not do anything spiritual. Let me just continue with my material life. Instead of doing half spiritual and half material like a pretender, let me just enjoy material life. So people are very eager how to squeeze out a meaning where I cannot do the bhakti. So that is another form of pretense. So first thing is, everybody in this world is contaminated. Otherwise we should not be in this world at all. We should have been with Krishna. So whoever is here, we are not clean. We have history of